Yes, ladies and gentlemen, and a very good evening here at another CSX Live. I'm so happy that you have been joining us in here today for this great session here, where we will be having an amazing guest with us tonight, all the way from the other side of the world. It feels like he's on a different planet because it's very early morning for him. It's about 8:30 in the morning or 7:30 in the morning for him, all the way in Canada, and he's joining us here tonight here at 8:30 here at Malaysia. So ladies and gentlemen, do me a huge favor and get in your friends, your family members, get in your neighbors, get in everybody, even the dog, the cat, bring them on Facebook Live here and bring them, because we are going to meet Carlos Matias, who is probably, first of all, one of the smartest people in the world. Second of all, we'll teach you everything about how tech-enabled agents, why tech-enabled agents just simply generate more leads. Carlos has about 2 decades of real estate prop tech experience, and he will share with us everything tonight that he knows about how the real estate is evolving, how the real estate is growing, and how you as a real estate professional can even do better in your career. So again, guys, do me a huge favor, just quickly press the share button, share it quickly into your groups. For all my cornerstone friends that are listening here tonight, quickly put it into your WhatsApp group, because you know what? Carlos is not coming in before he sees some real action and traction. He told me, Taco, I'm expecting 7 million people. No, he didn't say 7 million people. He said, I'm expecting at least a few hundred people that can join us in tonight, because I'm going to share some cool stuff. I'm going to share some stuff that is specifically for real estate professionals, that's going to help them, that's going to make them grow, and that's also going to help them close more deals. And I have like a ton of questions. I got like a gazillion million questions, but I'm also giving you priority first. I'm going to give you a priority to ask a question to Carlos, to ask a question to somebody on another planet. No, he's not another planet. He's in Canada. You can ask him a question about, hey, how is technology going to help me? How is technology going to involve my business? How is technology going to help me get more clients? Any question, I am absolutely sure that Carlos is going to give you an answer for that. So guys, if you're all ready, again, if you have pressed that share button, if you help me to share it into the other groups, if you help me to get your grandmother in, your auntie, your uncle, everybody in behind the screen, let's get started. So before I bring our special guest on board, let me do a little introduction, right? Because here in Malaysia, we don't know who Carlos is, but I can tell you in Northern America, in Canada, and the US, he is super duper famous because he knows everything about prop tech. He knows everything what you can do, how prop tech solutions help agents grow. So let me share a little bit with you his background, right? And I'm going to pop him up right away, right? So Carlos Matias is the founder of PropTech Solutions Incorporation, what is the holding company leading global real estate technology companies for a company called GriffTech Incorporations and Phoenix Software Incorporations. We're going to talk more about that later. With over 2 decades of experience serving real estate businesses in over 60 countries, Carlos has earned a reputation as a visionary leader and authority on global real estate technology. So Carlos, a computer systems graduate, began his career with leadership positions at BMW Group Canada, and prior to starting his own company, Carlos was the vice president of IT of European-based company Immuro BV, where he oversaw all facets of the company's software platform and IT operations. He is an active member of PeerScale and FIAPSI, and he was also acknowledged as 2020 and 21 Risk Media Newsmaker. Having traveled over 50 countries, he travels a lot. We will ask about that later. Carlos has spoken at countless industries events to inspire others and is an active participant in global industry and customer events. Carlos is fluent in English and he speaks super good Portuguese and divides his time between his homes in Toronto, Canada, and in Lisbon, Portugal. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together, or you cannot put your hands together. Please put your likes and your loves together for Mr. Carlos Matias. us. Good
Hello,
evening,
hello.
Carlos.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Taco. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Thank you.
Yes, and I'm so excited to get you on board finally, Carlos. I
Yes,
mean, first of all, thank you so much. It's 7:30 in the morning at where you are right now, right?
that's correct. Yes, here in Canada, it's a bright early morning.
Bright early morning, where we
Yeah.
are finishing the day. You are starting today. We are in the future, right? So,
Yes,
Carlos, again, thank you so much for spending some time with us. I know you are a super busy man, and just giving us some knowledge and some sharing from your part is really appreciated.
of course.
So. You're at the Canada at the moment. So just to get started, how are things in Canada at the moment? What is your current situation over there?
Well, we're still here in Toronto, Canada. We're actually still in lockdown, but things are slowly improving. So we are very hopeful for the next few weeks to see some things opening up, like regular hairdressers and hardware stores, things like that. So we're hopeful that things are improving and the vaccines are starting to roll up slowly. So we're a little more conservative in most countries when it comes to these kind of things. So we're taking it cautiously, but obviously everybody wants to get back to work. So we're very excited about getting back to a little bit more of a normal life in the near future.
You're not like your southern neighbors, how they did it over 2020. They were more like the risk takers during this COVID. Canada's a little bit more let's be careful about this one, right?
Yeah. We closed our borders with them and looked over the border and just observed, and we took a little more cautious approach, which I think has worked well for us. But still, it's been a long time here. It's very cold up here this time of the year, so it's also been challenging from that perspective. We also want to get out and do a little more socializing. So looking forward to that.
You're saying cold. Can you give us an indication? How cold is it there at the moment?
Right, as of last night, I think it was minus 12 Celsius overnight.
Minus 12 Celsius.
Yeah.
We are here sitting at 30 degrees in the evening, 32 degrees, and you're sitting at minus 12 Celsius. Wow.
Yeah, it's very chilly, especially overnight. And so it's, you got to really make an effort to get outside and get some fresh air. But we're used to it. It's part of the game here. And so it's still fun. There's lots of things. I did have the opportunity to go skiing last weekend. So there are some good outdoor activities you can also engage in. So it's good.
Wow, skiing. That's such a long time ago for me.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to get on a ski again one day.
Yeah.
Carlos, we know each other quite well, right? We did some collaborations in the past with previous agencies, but just for the group here, right, that is growing in the meantime, right? Can you maybe share a little bit background story about yourself? Who is Carlos Matias?
Sure. Yeah, of course. Well, the reason I'm very passionate about international business is, I was actually born in Portugal. I'm actually European, and moved to Canada when I was very young with my parents. But I always had that, passion for international real estate or international culture. So when I started my business as just a software company, real estate always caught my eye right from the beginning. I was one of the first industries that we started working in. And over time, I realized there was an opportunity there because real estate generally in the past has not been well served by technology. It's always had this very sort of narrow mentality around. It's a very relationship business, so you don't need technology. It's all about relationships. But unlike other industries where technology has really helped accelerate the industry, real estate has always lagged a little bit. So it's always been a passion of mine. So I started serving some customers in real estate in Europe, and over time it's just been organically growing, and it's been amazing to see what me and my team have been able to do. It's we've been able to get over 60 countries on our platform, understanding all those different challenges in each country, learning about real estate. And we hear it all the time. Real estate's done differently in our country. And I agree, there's always differences, but it fundamentally, agents helping customers buy and sell homes is very similar in many countries. So that's the part that's inspiring to me, because I get to share best practices. A lot of times I tell people I've seen this kind of challenge in other countries, and this is how they've solved it, and I'm able to share that, and that it's very satisfying to help agents in other countries solve problems which I've seen in other countries. So it's very cool from that perspective.
Wonderful, wonderful. Let's dive a little bit deeper into this whole technology, right? And how, like you said, right, from the traditional agent to the technology agent. But before I go there, I do want to give a chance to the audience that is watching right now. Carlos was so kind to say, hey, if somebody has a question for me, feel free to put it in the comment box. I will ask it to Carlos. Be friendly. Ask a nice question. Now you can ask any question you want, right?
Yes.
Any question you want. Carlos cannot chase you. He's all the way in very cold Canada over there, so it's going to be fine. Again, we talk about tech-enabled agents, right? So tech-enabled agents. There might be different terms for it, right? Prop tech agent, right? Any country is maybe different, right? But what do you understand when somebody who refers under a tech-enabled agent? What are they referring to?
Yeah, so for me, like I was saying, I always feel like the real estate industry has never really engaged in technology as much as they should. And so for me, a tech-enabled agent is really leveraging, social media, CRMs, listing tools to really, generate leads, first of all, right? So, getting leads from people who are interested in either buying or selling. And then leveraging technology to respond to them quickly. That's one of the key things that I think that a tech-enabled agent differentiates themselves is quick responses, but also automating their responses, being able to respond to customers on a very methodical and a process-oriented approach, not just waiting for the little post-it note on their computer, but actually having processes that automatically match listings with buyers and buyers with listings, and having tools like that to really put things into auto mode, and agents can serve more customers in a more timely manner. And to me, that's really the real differentiator I find internationally. Here in North America, they talk about, outside North America, we see like response times in the order of days. Like it takes days for agents to get back to customers. Just so you know, and I learned from my experiences here in Canada and the US. Here they talk about in the context of minutes, not days. So the international has some room for improvement, but I think that's a real differentiator because, as the general consumer of real estate becomes younger and more tech savvy, agents need to be able to respond in the same way. So I think that's a tech-enabled agent is leveraging technology to respond quickly and service the customers better.
Very true, very true. I like how you said that there's actually so many tools. You talk about social media, CRM, all these tools, right?
Yes.
If I talk to a lot of agents out there, whenever you present a piece of technology, they only say one thing back to me. They say, does it give me leads? That doesn't give me leads, right? Doesn't lead generate. Of course, lead generation is one of the core activities that any agent should master, right?
That's right.
So how do you believe that tech will make things easier so that agents eventually can get more leads and eventually also it makes everything easier for them now and in the future?
That's right. Yeah, I agree. Definitely, lead generation is the first step, and that becomes a fact. The biggest factor there is self-promotion. So agents need to be able to promote themselves as being the local expert. And a lot of times they think, oh, I need to go global. You don't go global right away. You become the local expert first, right? So that means targeting tools like social media. Some of those are free and easy. So, making sure everybody knows that when they make the decision to either buy or sell a home, that you're one of the options that they've seen. So making yourself promoted on social media, but also using the targeted advertising tools. There's very cost-effective tools in Facebook and Google and other tools like that, where you can target a very specific market in your local area so that people are aware of your abilities. And then once you've gotten some listings and some hopefully some sales, leveraging that information in a tactile way, not brute force. Like I keep telling agents that they keep asking us to put in our technology. As soon as I had a listing, I want to put it on Facebook. And I explained to them, if I was your friend and you posted every listing you listed on your Facebook, I would block you. That's not what you want, right? So you got to find a balance of how to approach those people. But leveraging those environments for lead generation, I think, is the easiest way. In the past, you used to have to spend a lot of money on advertising with print and and other ads and things like that. These days, those online marketing tools are so much more cost effective, and I think it's one of the key areas where agents need to generate their leads.
Wonderful, wonderful. I hope you don't mind, Carlos. I'm going to get a little off track here, right? But one of the fascinating things that I see, that I know about you, is that you literally go around the world. Maybe not in the last year during COVID, but you have seen every kind, sort, agent that exists in this globe, right? And so that means that you also have talked to a lot of agents. You know a little bit, okay, what type of agents are out there? So I think this is the next question that I have. You are the ideal person that I can ask this to.
Yes.
What makes a great agent?
Number one thing is an agent needs to help customers with finding a home or selling their home faster and for a better price than they could do on themselves. And so to me, it's about that customer service of just responding quickly, understanding what your customer needs, and give them what they need. It's just like any other industry, even outside of real estate. But I think a good real estate agent understand the customer's needs and understand that a buying of a transaction is a very timely thing, right? Customers may or may not think about buying a home or selling a home right away. It's sometimes an organic process. If an agent can understand and feed them information, you can accelerate it. You can make them happier because even though they weren't thinking about it, they got comfort in this agent helping them finding the right house, right home for their families, and then it becomes self-feeding because then you get referrals. That's one of the things I find is also very powerful. Is once you get a satisfied customer, that's the easiest advertising you have. Just like any other industry, right? If you have a satisfied customer, they become your best sales pipeline. So just keep that customer base growing, keep them happy, respond to them quickly. Everything else will fall into place. That's what I find.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. What I also wonder, right, is the fact that, like, how long have you now been doing prop tech? Let's say how long you have the company Prop Tech Solution or GriffTech or Phoenix? How long have you been doing this journey?
So since 1997, for 24 years.
1997. So you basically started prop tech before there was tech, actually, right?
That's right. Yeah, we started doing real estate technology in 97. They were just introducing flip phones back then. So there was like the internet was just barely in existence. And so, yeah, we've been, helping these international companies grow. And it's been a process because we've gone through all the technology, went through the .com boom. That's where I was living actually in Amsterdam for a couple of years. We built out a MLS type platform in Europe. So that's been a journey for sure to go through all those phases of seeing agents and technology grow together, right? It's back then they told me, the internet's going to take over agents. Agents are going to go away. This was back in like 99, the internet's going to eliminate the agent. I was very skeptical. I always feel that an agent has a value that they provide. And as long as their fees are, proportional to the value they provide, they will be there for the long term. Yeah.
That's why I also find it so fascinating to talk to you, right? 1997, right? So you have to imagine you were doing all of this stuff already before Steve Jobs found out how to build an iPod, right? You already was doing all of this, right? So you saw all the new things coming into the market, and you had to adapt your company to all the new stuff that was coming in. So maybe a quick question, right? Why do you then still believe that so many agents, after so many years, right, already putting technology out there in the market, they struggle in making that transition in becoming more tech enabled? Why do you think that is?
Yeah, again, for me, it's this perception that real estate is a very relationship-oriented business and not so sales-oriented. As you know, most sales-oriented industries have a lot of technology to help them, things like Salesforce and CRMs and things like that. And I just find that the mindset of agents using technology to enhance their relationships with their customers is still something that takes education. It takes them seeing some of their peers being very successful at doing that. So I think it's just a matter of them having the right guidance and showing them that technology can really help that relationship building. It's not replacing it. It doesn't make it worse. It just helps them. And I always use that analogy. Like back in the day when I was looking for my home, I remember my real estate agent making notes on a piece of paper, and I'm sure that piece of paper ended up on his desk somewhere about what I liked in my house, what I was looking for. These days, what I explain is using technology. You type that into a computer. You say this customer's looking here and here and here with these features in this price range, and boom, you get automatically notified multiple times a day if there's any listings added. And then it's just a matter of you have an opportunity to reach out to that customer and keep in touch. That's the relationship part. The technology just helps you, prompt you to follow up with those customers.
Correct. And of course, in the meantime, now these days there are companies coming out there, right, where kind of technology is kind of surpassing the agent, right? They want to kind of see if they can take a cut of the agent or take a cut of the transaction. So I think you will also be the right person to ask, do we still need real estate agents in the future, or will these people one day just be completely obsolete? What do you think?
So, it's an interesting question for sure. But I always think the market's so big, there's going to be room for every type of model, right? So there's going to be models where people are comfortable wanting to do a lot of things on their own. The real estate transaction in almost every country is complicated. It's not like buying a car or buying a new computer, right? It's a significant investment, but also it's complicated. It's a complicated transaction. There's many aspects to consider when you're buying or selling a home. So, while these companies can provide a certain type of service that some people will be comfortable with, I know that there are many really good agents that provide a ton of value, and I think that they will be there for the long term. They just need to adapt to make sure that they're providing more value than some of these other companies. But I do see them there for the long term, especially for those people who are not so comfortable with technology. That's always going to be the case. You're going to have some level of people who just need the help, the helping hand through that process.
Wonderful. Before we talk a little bit more about actually like your company and everything, right? If anybody is listening right now, right, and they say, okay, I still find it hard to get on tech, right? I like to do things in my own comfort zone, right? I find it easy, like you said, with the notebook, right? Yeah. What would your advice be to them, right? Where should they start?
There's different ways to do that. So we've seen models where as an agent, let's say you do get quite successful and you do have a lot of customers. Many agents will hire like an assistant to do the technology part for them if they're not comfortable, and just make sure they have the right process in place where that assistant can really augment their follow-up process, right? So that's one way to do it. Is not, they don't need to be an expensive resource, but somebody that will really help you with the technology if you're not comfortable. But if you are comfortable somewhat with technology, you definitely got to at least start with a basic CRM. You got to have a database of customers that you can refer to. And we really encourage, one of our key features that we think is the most valuable to an agent is some kind of buyer registry, buyer profile, buyer match, depending what you call it. Something that will help you register the buyers looking for properties so that you can get notified automatically when there are matches, because that's really the name of the game, right? You're trying to help this buyer sell their property, and I know a lot of agents don't like to deal with buyers, but to be honest, buyers are, I think, one of the easiest people to serve. If you have technology, it doesn't take a lot of effort. Many of them will work on their phone, like we have. You can be sitting in a cafe and, what are you interested in? And just sort of plug in some of the details, and boom, you're in autopilot mode. That's not complicated, but it can give you, sales. And again, a referral later when that customer eventually wants to sell their property. If you do a good job, guess who they're going to call? That's to me, those are key tools that you need to have as a real estate agent.
Yeah. So to clarify for the group here, right? So like a buyer's match is like at one side you key in the information where the listing is, and then at the other side you key in the information, the requests or the requirements from your buyer, and then the system kind of automatically kind of matches the interests and how it aligns together, right? And then it gives you recommendations, correct?
Yes, exactly. And one of the key aspects to that, as you're saying that, is being comfortable with cooperating with other agents is another aspect that we try to help with as well, because even though it matches a listing from another agent, you have to feel comfortable that, you know, the more you can cooperate with other agents, two things happen. First of all, the customer gets better served because they will hopefully find a home better and for a better price. Same with the seller. The seller will get a buyer sooner with a better price. So the consumer has a better experience, which, like I mentioned, a better consumer experience, more referrals, grows your business. But that also helps you sell more real estate, because if you have a listing and you want to find the buyer because you want to get all the commission, that generally is going to mean that it's going to take longer to sell. You're not going to make as much money. So, you know, here in North America, that's just second nature. You know, we MLSs and everything's sharing with agents is just second nature. It's a requirement. Internationally, we've seen where agents, when they get more comfortable promoting each other's listings and cooperating on deals, it just the momentum really grows faster because you know, you got more buyers, more listings to cooperate on. Sure, you don't get all the commission, you get more commission in the end. It's a proven fact.
Yeah, true. Wow. So fascinating. Thank you so much. Before we continue, right, again, I just want to, more people have joined us in here. I see the numbers going up. So again, ladies and gentlemen, we're here with Carlos Matias, all the way from Canada, one of the smartest property tech guys in the world, sharing with us a little bit more about why tech-enabled agents are getting more leads, but simply also why tech-enabled agents are simply more productive, better performing, and just get more business done, right? So, Carlos, just quickly, what are, like, you have been so long in the business, what are your future plans, right? Being so long in this industry, right? Are you ever planning to do something else, or do you say, no, this is the end game for me, I'm going to go all the way?
Yeah, I never say never. I don't, you know, I'm always open to new opportunities, but right now this is our passion. We're really looking to continue to grow with all these associations, franchises, groups that are out there that are growing as well, to provide this underlying technology to help organize real estate in as many countries as we can do this. And you know, even though we are in 60 countries, I still feel like we're just getting started. So it's still a work in progress. And there's so many opportunities that we are exploring, you know, augmenting the base of having all these listings and all these buyers registered. There's lots of, you know, opportunity to, you know, really expedite that whole customer experience and helping agents provide a good customer experience. So right now, you know, there's obviously partnerships and other type of strategies that we're going to be pursuing. But right now, I don't see myself going into another industry anytime soon.
Yeah. Oh, wonderful.
Just getting started. I'm just getting started.
I think you should stay in this industry. I think you're helping a lot of people, you know, making sure that they get better in real estate. Just for people's understanding, right? Because just also getting a little bit off topic, right? But pre-COVID, right, before the time that we were not allowed to travel, before the COVID, right? So how much would you be traveling? You say you serve over 60 countries. You traveled 50 countries, but you were a frequent traveler, correct?
That's right. Yeah, there's been a number of years where I've done over 100,000 kilometers of traveling in a year. So wow. It's wouldn't be infrequent, and it's important because, you know, that face-to-face time. Even though Zoom is great and all this kind of stuff, to me, I'm still a big believer in spending time face-to-face with customers. And we do industry events where I'll bring, you know, big chunks of my team with me, and we'll go and do sessions, user group sessions in various parts of the world. So it's an ongoing process. I've been to Asia a number of times, and I've been to every continent except for Antarctica. It's not a lot of real estate there just yet.
No, there's not. No, there's not an interesting market there. Maybe in the future. Yes.
That's right. Yeah.
I find that interesting, right? Like, for somebody that is so pro tech, right, that says, you know, you can leverage on technology, you still are a big believer of, no, I have to meet you in person. It's good to have that face to face. Do you still believe that will continue after COVID? Is that something that will still be part of our way of doing business?
Absolutely. I don't think that that's going to go away. However, you know, people are more comfortable with it now than they ever have been. So I've also observed that here. I think that, you know, for real estate agents to understand that customers are now more comfortable with doing these kind of things, and it's you know, still a very productive tool. You know, saves the agent time from traveling around, coordinating meetings. It's so much more convenient. Now the customers are more comfortable with it. It is something that I think will be part of the tool set that an agent has, right? Is to provide some of these as options for customers, right? So they don't, even though they may be in the same country, across town in the same city, or in a whole different country, they can actually provide, virtual showings, virtual open houses, things that in the past were hard to coordinate. They can definitely leverage this, but I think in the end, there's still going to be an important aspect of people getting together and doing some face-to-face time. Again, that comes back to that trust and that a relationship you build with a customer. So I think there's going to be more of this kind of, same with us with our customers. We were doing many remote sessions with our customers. We would sign on customers without meeting them as well. Don't get me wrong, that was still part of our world as well. But these days, I still feel that I miss that part of getting together with some customers and just spending that time and deep diving into things that I think are still a little harder to do through Zoom.
Yeah. No, I fully agree with you. I fully agree. I still believe that is going to be super important. Yeah. Moving on, I've written down a question, and that is a question that I thought would be just perfect to ask you, right? And I'll give you a little bit of a backstory to this question, right? Because I have this, especially to technology, I have this gigantic FOMO experience, right? That once a new technology comes out, immediately I'm like, oh man, there's another one. And then I'm like, should I get on or should I not get on, right? Like, is this going to be the next big thing? Or is this like now, with TikTok, I'm still like not aligned with TikTok yet, right? And then now you have Clubhouse, right? I'm still not, I'm still like halfway in, halfway out, right? So for somebody that is since 1997 is in the real estate technology and overall technology market, right? You must have seen so many things come, go, right? Where you have to make decisions like, do we include this into our technology to provide for agents, or do we say, nah, this is just going to suck everything for them, right? So maybe you can give us a little bit of an example, right, on a trend that you wished, like that you would take it in earlier because that became like a very big hype in the tech world or the real estate tech world. And maybe even also an example of something that you thought, now that was going to be big. And then you put it in and then it was a complete flop after all. Nobody started to use it. Maybe interesting to learn from you.
Sure. Yeah. There's been many examples, as you can imagine. Technology is constantly accelerating, not slowing down. So those distractions, those ideas are constantly being thrown at us, right? And then especially if there's other companies leveraging them and saying they're the latest and greatest, then you start to doubt yourself. Is it the latest and greatest? And you're not sure. But yeah, some examples that come to mind. The one trend that I would say we're doing a little bit of catch up on is the whole chat thing, right? Chat as a, and it's not really a technology, but just a way of interacting between people. It became, it started as more of like a social thing. People would just chat for social, but I have found it super interesting to watch it go from just social to, a game changer. So that's something that, we have integrated with, but we're going to be doing more and more because we can see agents using that as a key part of their communication with customers. So that's, between WhatsApp, WeChat, Line, Facebook Messenger, Snapchat, and like Telegram now with being very popular. So there's so many of them that are emerging and constantly evolving. So that's for me one of the areas that if in hindsight wish we'd have sort of engaged in chat earlier. I think would have helped us and our agents. So yeah, and I'm sure you guys see it too. And what's interesting is to see the different chats in different parts of the world and the popularity, right? For example, in China, it's nothing but WeChat. They don't care about anything else other than that. Whereas in other parts of the world, it's WhatsApp or other tools like that. So that part's been really interesting.
Wonderful.
Yeah, as far as trend, some technologies that we embraced probably either too early or just sort of went by the wayside. I would say the one that we were really pushed to say this is the latest and greatest was QR codes. We QR codes was supposed to be like the next greatest thing, and they haven't gone away. They still pop up here and there. We just literally just had a meeting with one of our customers in Japan, and they said QR codes are still big, very big there in Japan. And we're like, oh, okay, well, that's interesting. But that was one that we definitely spent some time on, built out tools, and had very, very little adoption. So there's always tools like that you have to try. Another one that's also interesting is e-signature, and that's one that I think that's not gone away. I think that's we're seeing a resurgence now with COVID, because that helps with not necessarily the transaction. We're not seeing it for people like actually buying a house yet through e-signature. Even here in North America, that's not very common. But to help with other aspects of a transaction, whether that's a listing agreement or a buyer agreement or a showing agreement, there's other documents and processes that agents can leverage e-signature, and we're seeing that as an upcoming trend, and that's something that we already had in our platform that we are going to be doing more with, because we see it becoming more and more popular.
It's so interesting that you mentioned that, because last week we had a property lawyer with us as a guest here, right? And I probably asked him about the same question, right? I'm just going to ask you also. Do you think that one day we can fully synchronize a property transaction, everything through technology from beginning to end? We don't need to meet, we don't need paperwork, we don't need to meet at banks or lawyers. Everything just in one tool, everything can be bought through one piece of technology, let's say it like that.
I would say that I think eventually, yes. I think the challenge isn't necessarily the real estate part transaction. It's all the supporting things like the government, the banks. They would also need to be in sync. I think those would be the areas that would depend on the country. In some countries, the banks and the government are very, very progressive, and they'll probably embrace technology as a way for them to help themselves. But in some countries, those institutions are very slow moving and not very technology friendly. So I think that the actual transaction itself, like actually signing a buying agreement or a listing agreement, I think that's not crazy far away. But then the rest of the transaction, that's why I say there's you got to register the property. If there's financing, that all has to be in place. So those are the parts that I see will depend on the governments and banks also being on board.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about GriffTech and about Phoenix Software, right? Two separate big companies that you have. How many people total? Just to get a number, how many people do you have total for both companies?
We hover around the 50 people range.
50 people. Oh, wonderful. And those people are across the whole world, right? They are, except for Antarctica, right?
Yeah, and except for Antarctica, yeah. So we have an office in Portugal, in Lisbon, where I'm originally from, and I spent some time there. We have people in Costa Rica. We have people in Toronto, obviously. That's where the majority of the magic happens, in Toronto. But we're also looking to establish somebody in Asia. We have a former colleague that's actually moved out to Asia, and she's potentially going to be our Asia representation.
Oh, wonderful. That's so great. So let's talk the companies together, right?
Yeah.
What is the one thing that you solve, Carlos, with these companies? What is the one thing that is the why you are in the business of what you do? Yeah.
So, ultimately our tools are used by agents to help with the customer journey I mentioned earlier, right? So it's tools to help agents generate leads, respond to leads quickly, and service customers, right? And eventually the back office, like all the intricacies of tracking the transaction, tracking the listing, so helping the organizations with the data flow in the back office as well. But our majority of our user base are agents, and what we really try to help agents is to help with their customer journey, because going back to those response times and agents being served, customers being served well. To us, that's our passion. When we see response times for new leads coming in the range of days, we know that that's not good for the customer. It's not helping agents. So our one thing we try to help is improving that customer journey from being interesting, buying or selling a home, to actually getting what they need. So and there's many aspects to it, Taco, as you know. That's why there's so many opportunities, because again, a real estate transaction is complicated. There's a lot of pieces that have to go into it, and so we have lots of different tools that service all levels of an organization like that.
Okay, interesting. Interesting. So, like, what I'm curious about, and I think also some people in our audience, right? I always find it fascinating when somebody has like a global company, right, where you serve multiple countries, right?
Yes.
Different cultures, different way of doing business, different everything, right?
Right.
And then you have like 50 people. Like, how do you manage this? How do you like are you like not sleeping, or is it like you have like a specific way how you manage 50 countries together?
Yeah. So our secret to that is we partner with local franchises and associations. So we provide tools for them to augment their offering. So the idea is we don't go and deal with an individual brokerage or an individual agent. We typically help an association implement technology because they have processes and they have things that they want to bring to the table in their value proposition. So we do adapt the technology for these associations, and they leverage it as a way to grow their network. So when we go into a new country, we have some experience on the language and stuff like that, but really the customer leverages our technology to build out their network of agents, and that's what allows us to expand sort of more proportionally, and not like, for example, we do over 40 different languages worldwide. So
40 different languages. Wow.
40 languages. So, and we don't have people that speak 40 languages. The key is the customers actually can translate and adapt to the technology to their own needs. Therefore, they translate basically for their own needs, and we just provide those flexible tools to make sure that it is customizable. Because like I mentioned, fundamentally, a listing is a listing. Fundamentally, a customer is a customer. Obviously, there's a lot of subtleties there we have to adapt to, but fundamentally, we can provide a really great tool and leverage. This is what I was saying. We can go to certain countries. I'll give you an example. We went into Mongolia, and I thought Mongolia, it's a country that for me was very out there as a place that I never would have imagined. And we have helped our customer there become like the #1 player in Mongolia, and they leverage technology tremendously as a differentiator and as a way to build their network. And so now, it's become a great success for us. So it's that partnership with a local association or a group of offices that really helps us grow in a particular country.
Wonderful. I find it, like I said, very fascinating that you can like manage 50 countries. I can also imagine when you go into a new country where you kind of maybe like kind of showcase or show your technology, right? That the first reaction of a country would be, but things just work different here. They're just we are a very special country. We're Mongolia. No, we're Malaysia. It's just different here. Your technology is probably not suitable to us. So how do you usually deal with that when you talk to clients like that?
Yeah, you have to be sensitive, because I've heard it. We've launched like over the years probably 100+ countries. Not all countries stay afloat, but it's a sensitive topic because they do say it's very different. And then I asked them to explain their differences, and I would say like 9 times out of 10, I'm like, yeah, I've seen that before. You call it this, but in these other countries it's called that. And this is, we deal with that in this way or that way. And usually it's a very satisfying conversation because they say, oh, well, that's great. So I don't have to adapt the technology to our local country. We just have to tweak a few things, and we can provide that same nuance that they think is very different in their country, but actually it's not really that different. It's, maybe called something or different, or just dealt with in a different way.
Yeah, wonderful.
And what's great, Taco, is sometimes we can actually say, we understand that problem. Here's how we've seen other customers solve that problem. And sometimes they love that kind of discussion. So we don't just bring technology to the table. We bring that know-how and that experience that gives people comfort that we've been around the block a few times. There's not a lot of things these days that have been thrown our way that we haven't seen. There is always some surprises. Don't get me wrong. There's always some nuances in certain countries that take us by surprise. But we then adapt, and that's the key. Is you got to adapt. Otherwise, there's not a lot of technology companies that have been around for 24 years, and I think one of the ways that we've been able to do that is continually adapting, always adapting. And I learned that from Bill Gates. Bill Gates is one of my mentors, and he also has that adage that you got to keep evolving. You think of Microsoft and how they've evolved from as a company and maintained their dominance, and I think that's a key part of our success.
I think it was sometimes get confused with either jobs, right? One of them was the key secret to success is the ability to adapt, right?
Yeah.
So like a few, two, three more questions, if that's okay with you, Carlos. And like I said, I don't want to take too much of your time.
No worries.
What is one trend, like you spend a lot of time in Northern America, you see big new companies. Just before this session, we talked very quickly about this big new company called Compass in the US, right, that is going for IPO, right? We have other big companies that are out there. What is a big trend that you see happening at your side of the world that you know for sure that's also going to happen very soon in Asia?
Yeah, I would say one of the big trends I see in technology in North America, and a lot of it's been accelerated by COVID. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Is around the idea of automating the customer interaction. And that's what some of those companies like Compass and Redfin are trying to do, and even other new brokerages like EXP. They're really trying to leverage technology to automate that interaction with customers. So I mentioned earlier, like e-signature and virtual showings, virtual open houses, ways to help agents, again, tech-enabled agents, to help customers more quickly and more efficiently. That's definitely, I think, the most common trend, and we're obviously very well poised for that, because that's what we try to help do. So that's good for us to hear that and to take those learnings in North America and try and apply them internationally. That's always been our one of our strategies, is to watch for those trends, and definitely that's an area that we see. And companies like Compass have a different model to that, but the concept is the same: is helping agents help their customers quickly.
Wonderful.
Right.
Thanks so much for all that sharing, Carlos. I really so much appreciate all of this, right? And before we close, I just have two questions left, but I still want to give a chance to the audience. I think they're a little shy tonight, Carlos. I think once they know there's a big guy coming from the West, and they're a little afraid to just ask a question. But let me see if I can dare somebody out there to maybe ask you a final question from the audience. If not, then I definitely have still two questions for you, right?
Okay.
Or maybe not really a question, just a word of advice, right? Because you being in the business for so long, and agents are being here with us here this evening, right? Any final words of wisdom or advice that you would like to give, especially probably mostly our Malaysian agents here? From your side, any advice, any words of wisdom that you would like to give them?
Yeah, so my biggest passion, and I think that my words of advice would be related to focus on being a quality agent. And what quality agent to me means is being quick to respond to customers, understanding what your customers' needs and responding quickly to them. You don't need to be a very hard salesperson. You just need to become your confidant of your customer, making feel that you are working for them and responding to them, not pushing them, but just providing them the comfort that they are getting the information they need from you as a professional. And I think that if people love to refer good experiences that they have had, so once you get a good customer base with great experiences, your business will grow very, very quickly, just by the sheer fact that you will have a good customer base that is very, very satisfied. So full focus on quality, and that just means all those aspects are important. Focus on your customer.
Wonderful, wonderful. I did just got a question in, Carlos, but
Yes.
immediately it's not the easiest question that we're getting. But okay, I'll just ask it anyway, see if you can answer it. Fick is asking, automate with different software and integrate or using one platform solution for all tasks. Which one is the best, or would you recommend? I think that's actually an easy answer for you.
Yeah, I gotta be careful with that one. I would say, I don't think there's one platform that does everything. I think you got to find platforms that are integrated with a number of different tools, because you remember, you're going to be comfortable. CRM is not the same for everybody. Everybody has different preferences on how to manage their customers. So I would say, make sure you find a solution that is at least well integrated with many different products to have different options, because there may be certain aspects that you like of one or the other. There is no perfect product. Even our product, we integrate with other tools as well, because we know that they have features that we don't necessarily think that we can compete with. So we just integrate with them and allow our agents to use those for certain things. So I would say focus on one that's open and integrated. There's many platforms like Zapier and Twilio now. They have so many different integrated products that we are integrating with as well, because there are some things that we can't serve everybody exactly the way they want. So more options is usually better. Integration is the key.
Okay, integration is the key. I hope that answers your question, Fick, Ahmad. And if not, then we will see your comment again later, I guess. Then Carlos will see if he can answer it through the comment box. Okay, final question, Carlos. I promise, final question. We're not going to hold you for any more longer. This is a question that I ask usually most of our guests before the end of the session, right? Yeah. Just imagine, and by the way, I have to also give the source of this question. This question is always asked also by Tim Ferriss, who does an amazing podcast with a lot of his with a lot of his guests. Yeah. He would ask, and I would also ask you right now, if I would sponsor you a gigantic billboard, right, on a highway here in Malaysia, right, and you could write a motivational quote, a word or a sentence that resonate the most with your values or your beliefs, what would that be?
Wow, that's an interesting question. You know what? I'm generally a pretty positive person. I try to. I think that when challenges are put in front of us, even though they're challenging, I feel like as a general philosophy, we always get through things, right? It's tough, but COVID, we're going to get through it. We're going to come out the other end better, and that's how I've been able to stay in business for so long. We've had many hurdles thrown our way, but we, find our way through it, and that takes hard work. That means going through those tough times, but never giving up. And so, and you got to stay focused. So if you gave me a billboard, I would say you got to work hard, never give up, and stay focused on your goals. For me,
wonderful.
That's what I would focus. I know it's an old school way of approaching it, but for me, it applies to, I think, all of our lives, where you just got to work through it. We'll come out better the other end. As long as we stay focused on our goals.
I think that is such great advice, and I will definitely also put that in a billboard too. It's so great, Carlos. Great. Carlos, again, I'm speaking for all 32 Malaysians that are unfortunately not all able to make it, but some of them were able to make it. I would like to thank you so much for joining in with us here tonight. I hope we can do it sometime again in the future. Absolutely. And if anything, when the travels open again, I hope to welcome you one day in Malaysia. Yeah. So that we can share with you our wonderful country here, and then also the wonderful food and the wonderful people. For now, you have given us so much value. Say hi to your team. Thank you so much, Carlos.
Absolutely, Taco. Thank you so much for the opportunity. It was great speaking with you again. And thank you for everybody from Malaysia that joined. And I definitely look forward to doing this again. Okay,
thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to an end of tonight's session. We were very honored to have Carlos Matias here with us for this night, and we learned so much from him. Property tech, prop tech, become a tech-enabled agent that will help you thrive through your business. For tonight, this was it. We will be coming back again next week with a new guest. For tonight, I thank you so much for joining in, and see you again next time. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you. Thanks. Bye-bye. Have a good night.